Hey there, welcome back to the table. So I know some folks might be wondering where the heck I've been. I've been asking myself the same question. It's been like a week and I've been gone for a very long time. So much so that I had to refresh myself on the rules here of what to do. It is, if I remember correctly, it is their turn, the AI, and also there's a possibility that when I set these guys up, you know how I put them in a row, and then I started to do a checkerboard. Well, when you're in a large room, I was actually supposed to put them like a whole space between them. I'm not going to retcon that because I don't know who we killed or what we killed between then and now. I don't think we killed anybody. I think it's just these three guys. That's how bad my memory is on this. But I do need to correct, one thing, and it is on the rule on how shields work. So what I was doing is I was rolling, and then let's say I get to damage somebody, and I roll 3 dice. I would roll 3 damage dice, and if one of them was a 6, I would say the shield can't block that one, but then I would roll the shield for each individual hit to see if it blocks those. Somebody pointed out that that's not how it works, and the rulebook says that the shield blocks impact, but the rulebook doesn't explain what impact means. So I understood it to mean, an impact is just, okay, fine, this impacts you, and this impacts you, like individually. So it's sort of like the pet situation with the lion, where somebody suggested that the lion only works with the hero who owns him. So the rulebook does have some inconsistencies in it, at least my version. Now, what I did was I went online, and there's a PDF that you can download from online, and that rulebook actually changed the wording on both of these topics. So first of all, the situation where the cat, the lion that's owned by somebody, it only provides its perception bonus to the owner and nobody else. So like I said, we would then make the lion the pet of the thief, right? We wouldn't make it the pet of the forester. So I may not have made a forester. Now, with that in perspective, I may have gone with a more combat class archer because I'm not sure that the magic spells are even all that helpful at this moment. Although I do have one that's given me a +2, so that seems to work. It just, I may have changed things around, right? So whoever suggested that the pet only gives a bonus to the owner, they were correct. And in the rule book that's online is without a doubt, it changes the wording. I talked about how it said heroes plural, their plural, meaning that the heroes, their pet, right, their plural pet. And then I was like explaining how you could interpret it one way or the other. In the new version of the rulebook online, it says his hero, his pet. It's singular, which is the exact criticism that I gave. So to give credit where credit's due, my copy of the rulebook does not have that, but the online version does. So I think we can put that to rest. It is officially solved. The judge has ruled that the pet only provides bonus to its owner. Okay, that's one. Number 2, the shield. So impact was fully defined in the online rulebook. Again, it was almost like the guy knew we were asking these questions. It is exactly the way Lonesome Gamer did it on his video, and exactly the way a viewer suggested. And that is, if I hit somebody, so I rolled my combat ability and they rolled theirs, and mine was a higher number than theirs. Before I roll my damage dice, they get to take their shield and they roll it. And if their shield is a 5 or a higher, right, it blocks the entire hit. I don't roll any damage dice at all. It blocks the entire thing. And then as a character, you have the option, let's say I did roll a 1 like I just did, I could roll it again. And if I would have rolled a 5 or a 6 the second time, I still would have blocked the entire hit. But what you're doing is you're forfeiting all your actions on your turn. So you don't get to make any actions when it's your turn. So that's the one drawback there. So with all that being said, let's get started. One last thing. There's an app that is no longer available, but the online website is. It's called Araska, the World of Araska Online. And it is quite a nifty little app. The thing I like about it is I can create my heroes, and then I can actually get this scenario to just show up, and I can put my heroes on, I can put my beast, my bandits on, and I can move everything around. And then what's even more beautiful is the app lets, like, this door is shut. I don't know what this room is beyond the door until I click on that door and say I'm going to open it. So I'm going to really try to figure out how to incorporate that app into this video. I don't have an easy way. I think I can maybe put it on my computer, because I am using a computer to record. I can maybe pull the app up on the computer and somehow figure out how to do that, and then use this camera to overlay over top of it. That's something I'm going to consider doing, but we won't do it for this particular mission. This mission is ruined. We already know what's going on with this mission. But I think it's a really cool way to make it so we don't know what's behind each door. And then the thing is like, you still have to roll dice. The app will roll the dice for you, and that part's fine, but you're still going to have to, like, figure out, create the Dark Player's deck and draw the card to see what's coming next. Those kind of things. So, okay. If I remember correctly where we were at, it is the Dark Player's turn, and the first thing you do on their turn in a combat situation is you have to roll their die. And the only die result that matters is this one. If they roll this is bad news for us, as long as he has points to spend. If they roll anything else, we're okay. Okay, so we're fine. Nothing happens. Now, you might be asking, okay, what happens if we roll this? Well, if we roll this, then we draw from the deck that goes with it, and it's been a week and I can't even remember which deck is which. Okay, so it would be this one. I'm going to pick up the deck here. And it's a very large deck, by the way. We got a whole bunch of cards in there. So then something like this would happen. He would spend 2 points, and then he would get fortune points. And fortune points, of course, would allow them to avoid critical failure or getting knocked down, things like that. And then, of course, if the card doesn't apply, he gets his 2 points back. Now, he is sitting, just as a refresher, he has 48 points. And then the other thing that happens is at the beginning of his turn is he scores an achievement point. So he's at 6, the heroes are at 3, and we are on week 4. That's how you interpret this. And then this is the number of points he has left. Okay? All right, so let's get rolling here. If you may recall from the first mission, and I'm saying this mostly for my own benefit, so we have the Dwarven Bandit here. We have the Archer here, which is the human, and then we have some rat dude here. And we got to use the bandit cards, of course, and I have them laying here on the ground. And the Dwarf Bandit, I totally forgot, but he has 3 damage on him. But the thing that we need to look for is the Dwarf Bandit has the little melee symbol, and the Rat Bandit and the Shooter both have the Archer symbol. So if you recall, that means we got to pull out the AI cards for a melee fighter and a ranged fighter. So these are the only 2 melee cards we need to use for this battle. So which one goes first? Oh, great. That's a great question. I know we resolved this before. I think it was the one with the highest agility goes first. Yeah, it's amazing how much you forget in a week, doesn't it? Let's see. Increase the challenge, the turn. Hero setup. I'm pulling out my cards here. One of these is going to cover combat. Creature activation. The order in which creatures must activate is as follows. Spellcasters and wizards first. Range attacks second. and then the rest of the creature's third. And then in the case of a tie, the higher dexterity goes first. Okay, all right, that was what I was looking for. Again, all the rules are here. You just got to find them. And all the tiles are here. You just got to find them. This is still a really cool game. I don't like the setup. I really don't. It's so tedious, it's not even funny. But I do think it's a cool game. I am tempted to redesign the characters, but I'm that way all the time. So anyways, let's get going here. We're going to do the range fighter first. So it says at the beginning of its activation, if it cannot shoot at a target or must reload, it will whatever. So its priority is the enemy which is easiest to hit. So that would be the one with the lowest dexterity. And so we got a couple of shooters here. This shooter would turn to face his target, and so would this one. And I don't believe that other characters block line of sight. The rogue here, though, has a dexterity of 5. These shooters have a dexterity of 3, and then the rat folk bandit have a dexterity of 4. So he's not necessarily the easiest to hit. Now, remember, there's all these bonuses to them, right? So when you're doing a range shooting attack, let's refresh my memory. Small target is -1. That would be the Hobbit. Stationary targets, none of those apply. If he moves and shoots, it's going to get -1. And then -2 if they use more. They're not going to have to move at all. If it's light or heavy cover, see, if their agility is greater, it's going to be a -1. And I don't think there's any attack from the back situations. And then, of course, there's no defensive shots right now. And then the distance to the target, if it's more than 1 to 3, they're going to get a -1. So what does easiest to hit mean? I'm going to just go out on a limb and just explain that easiest to hit is you don't want any -1s, right? So the rogue would give them a -1 here. And then they're okay actually here. They don't get a -1 for this. But if they go after somebody else other than the rogue, they might get a -1 because it's 4 to 6 squares away. So there's some trade-offs. The lion, by the way, has a dexterity of 5 as well. So the lion would cause them to have a -1. So the lion's not necessarily better than the rogue. And in fact, the paladin is 1, 2, 3 away. And the paladin has a dexterity of 3. So that's easier to hit for this archer, but not for this one because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away. So this archer, really his 2 targets are either going to be the lion or the rogue. And they're both tied with dexterity, and when that's the case, we get to pick. Now I got to be careful because if I choose the rogue, his health is only 3, but the lion already has 4 damage on him out of 6. So they're both in very sad shape. All right. So with that being said, let's start with the human shooter first. Or actually, the rat bandit one. He breaks the tie. He's going to go after the hobbit here. He gets a -1 for being smaller. -1 to his attack, but it's within 3 spaces, so he doesn't get any other -1s. So we're going to go ahead and roll for that. Remember, he's got to get a 10. And he rolled a 5, which is good news for us. Now, the rat folk shooter, I'm going to grab his card real quick here. The rat folk shooter has a +3, so that's 5 plus 3 is 8, -1 because of the halfling, so he misses. And that's great news for us. So now we're going to try to roll to hit either the paladin or the dwarf here. I got to see what the dwarf has. He also has a dexterity of 3. This is another option that's 3 spaces away. And we get to choose. The dwarf actually has a couple wounds on him and does not have a shield. So we're going to go ahead and go after the dwarf. And here you can see he rolled was it a 9? I thought that was a 6. But a 9 is a good roll. And then he rolls +3 more. I'm sorry, that's the wrong guy. The other one says the same thing, +3 more for the human archer. So that would be a 12. And then I don't think there's a -1 at all for his situation. So the dwarven dude takes a hit. So how much damage does he do? So let's see. That would be considered a crit. And Okay, I had to pause because I forgot. Going back to the rat folk, he gets a -1 because he's using a sling. So he would have gotten another -1. I mean, he missed anyways, so don't worry about that. But there would have been another -1 to him. And then this guy is using a short bow. So there is no -1 for him, and he is going to roll 3 dice of damage. So, and then of course his range is 18, etc., etc. But he's going to roll, or does he have an arquebus? Hold on. Let me check the card. It was the Bandit Spawn card. This all came from the Bandit Spawn, so please forgive me here. One dwarf bandit with a battle axe, one shooter with an arquebus, and then 2 rat folk bandits with short sword and sling. So what they did is they did the sling, right? So we're gonna, one of these must have been, we must have killed one of them. So the arquebus is what he's doing. So I gotta go back and check the arquebus. That rolls 5 damage dice, but he gets a -1 to his roll. That's still not enough to miss. And he does do a -1 to the barbarian's armor. So the barbarian's armor right now is a 4, which is going to be reduced to a 3. So, and 5 dice is a lot of dice. But this symbol here means it needs to, I'm sorry, that symbol there with the little arrow looping back, that means it needs to reload. So the whole next turn, he's going to just be reloading. He doesn't get to shoot again. But 5 dice is a lot of dice. And it looks like there's 3 hits there. And I'm looking over, the barbarian only has 5 health. That would be enough to kill him. So we're going to have to spend some points. And so here's 1 point. I got to roll a 5 or a 6. I roll a 5. So I just have to spend 1. And I will do that. And if I remember correctly, he scores a point for that. So 7 points. And that, just to refresh you, is 1 point for each fortune point spent. And then +1 at the beginning of his turns, and anybody that's knocked out, which we're trying not to do. Okay, so we're going to get 1 point for every enemy slain. None of these, well, are any of them advanced? No, and here's how you can tell. Right here. So you just look there. So we're going to get 1 point for each of them. I'm assuming we got 1 point for killing one, and then we got 2 points for our 2 spells. And then yes, 1 point for the main room, and then 1 point for every spell cast, which we have 2 of them. And right now there's no secret doors, or +1 for detecting or disarming a trap. I thought we got 1 for that. So I might be missing a point here. We've cast 2 spells. We got a fire elemental, and we have the special aim, and then so that would have been 2 points. We detected a trap, that was 3. It was the our archer detected the trap, and so that would put me to 4 because we killed one of the ratkin. We had to have. There was supposed to be 4 of them, and I only see 3. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I did not go back and look at my previous video. I apologize for that. Okay, so both of them are done. Then we have this guy who's locked into combat with her. I'm just going to go ahead and roll both dice, and then we'll check the numbers to see who needs what. So he rolled a 7, and we rolled an 8, which is good for us. Our combat ability is 5, so we're very strong. His combat ability is 4. He doesn't stand a chance, so nothing happened there. All right, we're good. That's the end of the round. That was not bad. See, this is the beautiful part of the game. I mean, there's still a lot of rules I have to look up, especially when you've been gone for a week. But this clicks. Like, this part of the game is beautiful. The getting everything set up, I don't care for that as much. But this is where this game really shines. I really feel like as a dungeon crawler, yeah, there's some +1, -1s. It is a little fiddly. Sword and Sorcery, like I said, was, in my opinion, one of the better ones. I just didn't like the character, like the heroes in that game, like the guy who puts a banner in the room. Like, that was silly, but it was too many +1, -1s in that one, but it was still a good game in my book. The Folklore of the Affliction was just awful. But I know a lot of people like that game, and I don't mean to trash it too much. So let's do, it's our turn. Let's murder, death, kill, right? We got our barbarian. I have my healing light with my paladin, but I need to be next to somebody. The rogue needs to be behind somebody to really be able to do like a backstab. And they have to start their turn behind somebody to be able to do, because right now the rogue is not behind anybody. Now, because they do engagement, the rogue would be engaged. However, remember he has stealth. And this is where stealth comes in. Stealth, character may ignore an enemy's melee range once per combat turn. This skill can't be used by large characters or while equipping heavy armor. So, so basically you can slip by somebody. Now, one thing I am thinking of using, character may skulk behind some piece of furniture, provides light cover as if it was heavy. Enemies who lost their initiative roll against the character suffer a -1 penalty. That's only if he's the one doing the rolling, which I need to keep that in mind because I think he was the one that opened the door. But this one is the one I'm looking at. You can use an action to mislead an enemy. When a character is 6 or less spaces away, you roll 2d6 and add your intelligence. If the enemy loses the roll, it will lose its next turn. That is really good with that arquebus guy. So like maybe, prevent him from being able to shoot. Okay, so with that being said, I can ignore melee range. I'm in his melee range, so it'd be his that I would be ignoring. And if I look at my halfling here, his movement points are 5. So I can go 1, I'm still ignoring him. And then I can go 2, 3, and then 4, and now I'm behind this guy. For this turn, he knows I'm there, even though I'm behind him. So I'm not going to get any bonus, and this should be miserable. So I rolled an 8 and a 7. And by the way, the Dwarf Bandit, because he has the battle axe, gets a -1 to his combat roll. So that would have been even worse. So his 7 would normally add 4, but it's only adding 3. So he's at 10. I'm at 8, and I add 3. I'm at 11. I actually hit this guy. I can't believe it, but I did. I hit him. And he doesn't have a shield, so he's not going to block what I do. I only have 2 strength, so I'm only doing 2 dice rolls here. But that's okay. Let's do it. 2 dice rolls. And his armor is -1. And I know that because that's what his weapon says. So -1 armor. He's going to roll his strength, which is only 2. That's the drawback to these hobbits. Not very strong. So we're going to roll 2 here. And that is definitely a hit because his armor is a 3. The Dwarf Bandit. I'm sorry, his armor is a 4, but we do a -1. So this would have been a hit either way, but this one is a miss either way. So we do 1 damage to the Dwarf Bandit. He has 5 total health. We're at 3 damage on him now, so I'm going to put another one on him. He's only got 1 hit point left. So with that being said, they're going to do the Paladin now. And the Paladin only rolled a 4. He rolled a 5. Remember, he gets a -1, so he only adds 3 to get to 8. We add 5 to get to 9, so the Paladin hit him. And the Paladin is going to get to roll 4 dice. And there's 2 hits right there. I only needed 1. Does our weapon... Our weapon doesn't pierce armor or anything like that, but that's enough to kill the dwarf. So all that sneaking behind the dwarf didn't do me any good. He's good and dead right now, but that's good. We got 1. Take 1 for the team. And by the way, this guy is laying right where I would put a dead body because I was just getting ready to put the dwarf there. So that is proof that we did kill one. I don't have to go back and look at my video. So with that said, we score another point. We're up to 5. And those 2 characters are done. So the rat guy in the back is a big problem. However, to get to him, there's a melee range that this guy exudes, and we can't just walk right by him. So I'm going to go ahead and have the lion charge forward, and the lion is going to attack the archer. And the archer rolled well. We did not. That was a 4 for us. The lion adds 5 more, so that is a 9, and that's a 7, but he adds 3 more for 10. And I don't think there's any melee modifiers. Elevated position, attack from back, difficult terrain. Yeah, none of those are mattering. So the lion missed, and that stinks. And then we're gonna have to go ahead and do the dwarf. So he's gonna do the same thing. We're gonna come in here. Technically, I can't move to here because I already have. I could walk along this edge here. So go 1, 2, and then 3. So let's do that. I want to attack this guy. So there's a big 10 roll for us, and this was a 5 roll for him. And we add 5 more. He only adds 3 more. That's definitely damage. And his strength is 4. For a dwarf, he's not very strong. Let's roll. And you can see here that there's 2 hits for sure. I need to look at his axe. What's he doing? The axe is a -1 to the armor. Oh, and it's the strength +2. So he gets to roll 2 more dice. Okay, that wasn't good. So the dude's armor is 3. He gets a -1, so he's down to a 2. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and he has 4 health. He's a kill. Murder, death, kill. What movie is that from? Does anybody know? Be well, John Spartan. Okay, so that's another kill, and that is another point for the good guys. Now, I summon this fire elemental, and I swear to you, he's going to do something this game, but so far all he's doing is trying to keep up. That's becoming a problem with this game. To summon someone like him, you need to not move, and what I needed to do was wait until we're in a battle like this, and I'm actually in the room, and then summon a fire elemental. Summoning one while we're exploring was not a good idea. Okay, so next, I don't want to move more than half. I need to move. Well, actually, no, I'm at the doorway, so I have line of sight. 1, 2, 3, I can see him. So I'm going to try to shoot him from here, but it's 4 spaces away, and that's a -1. Or my movement points are 6. I can move, as long as I don't move more than half my movement points, I can still get a hit in. So if I move, I get a -1 for moving, and then if I use more than half, I get a -2. So I can move 3 spaces and only get a -1. Right now, I'm getting a -1 because I'm 4 spaces away. So what I'm trying to say is I can, as long as my 3 spaces gets me within 3 of him, so I can go 1 and 2 like that, then I can do it. However, I just realized something. The lion, when he came within 3 spaces, he rolls a defensive shot, which is a 7, but the defensive shot gets a -2, and he adds 3. So he needed to get to 10. So he did not, his defensive shot didn't do anything. He's just got a sling. His defensive shot's not that good. So the defensive shot is only once per round. So everybody else can move in and harass him just fine. It was only the first person who went within range, and that was the lion. So it could have actually been the rogue, because I think I moved the rogue this way. My apologies for not thinking of it when the rogue was moving. The rogue would have just added another -1, same outcome. So no worries there. So I can move 3 spaces. So I moved 1, 2. I'm within the 3 spaces I need. I'm going to move another space because I just want to get closer to moving to the next room. And then we're going to do a point blank shot there. I do get a -1 because I moved. So let's do this. Oh, an 8 is an excellent roll. And then our character sheet, I like my picture. Our character sheet adds 5 more. So 8 plus 5 is 13. I get to add -1 because we moved, so that's a 12. But that's 10 hits, and that's enough to do the damage. So the Elven Bow rolls 4 dice for damage, and that's what we shall do. One of them was a crit. I need to figure out, what does the crit do again? I know if the shot fails with a single result of a 1, you'll end up hitting an ally. That's bad. I don't know if this crit does, like I thought the crit just made it, oh, if you roll a crit in the attack roll and they have a shield, that reduces 1 from their shield roll. So if they needed a 5 or a 6, they're gonna have to get a 6. I don't think it does anything in this situation. So anyways, we roll 4 dice. The rat dude has a armor of 4. He's wearing leather armor. So we do have to worry about that. Actually, it does not say he's wearing leather armor. It says it's a ratfolk bandit with short sword and a sling. So if you look here, his equipment is normally a leather armor and a sling. But, and then you can choose a broadsword or a short sword, right? It says a ratfolk bandit with short sword and sling. It doesn't say leather armor. But let me see if it says leather armor on any of these other dudes. Yes, it does. Because look. Dwarf bandit with battle axe and chainmail. So was the dwarf bandit? See, normally he has leather armor and shield. But he could have chainmail. Got it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and rule that since he comes by default with leather armor, that he has the leather armor, even though it doesn't say it. So that's fine. We do 1, 2, 3 hits, and he only has, because he's ratfolk, he only has 3 health. So it's still enough to kill him, but I wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to be thorough about it. And that's another point for the good guys. And the battle's over. So it only took us 2 rounds, and the mage didn't even get to go. So we're not, right now we're absolutely tied on points, but now we got to get to the other end of the room. Now we have a dining room table. We had a pile of boxes. There's a whole bunch of features. I think they call it furniture. I'm using an Altar Quest, which by the way, I do enjoy that game, Altar Quest. Let's see. So there's a table and some chairs. You can roll a 3d6, and for every result of a 6, you find a pack of provisions. And for a 5, you get a supreme beer. So if somebody walks up to it, they can spend an action to do that. Otherwise, the barrels and boxes had a chance to find a ram and yeah, we just skipped that. So we're in the next room now. Look, so now that we killed the last guy, I don't know if we technically still get to finish moving these two because the combat round is still coming to an end, or they are just both screwed and now we're starting a regular turn and they have to, you know, make do. So I think they're going to have to make do. I think that is the rule here. I don't think there's a finish your turn kind of thing concept. So we could have theoretically moved them first before we move the archer. I mean, you could argue that because the wizard does have 6 movement. And then the fire element, or the water elemental, which I only have the fire elemental token. The water elemental moves 5, which is part of the problem. Someday I will find that water elemental token. I just don't know when. Okay. So I'm just going to say it's our turn. And remember, everybody has a safe zone of 2. So, you know, this is all about woke politics. Everybody has a safe zone. I'm going to grab some caffeine here real quick. I want to get to here. Remember, the lion is now owned by him and basically has to stay within 8 spaces as best as it can. And this guy has a movement of 5. So if I go 1, 2, the next move is out of my safe zone. And so I'm going to go ahead and go 3 to there, and we're going to have to roll. And that is a nothing. The only thing that hurts us is if we get a trap. So then I'm going to go, and I think the way this works is you roll once, and then you finish your movement. So like everything else is safe. I don't think I have to roll again and again every step I take. Oh my gosh, that would be awful if I had to do that. I think this works. So it's 3, and then 4, 5, then he's going to get to the doorway at 6, and he'll open it next turn. Now the problem is he had a safe zone here, but that safe zone is now gone. The safe zone is now over here. So the lion, for example, can move 1, 2. He's still in the safe zone, but now the lion is possibly triggering a trap. And sorry, I rolled that. So we're good. And then the lion moves 8 spaces. 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go 6, 7, get to the other side of him. Now the problem with the lion created there is there's still an empty zone there. So we need to probably move the guys in the rear first, because that'll help keep the safe zone going. So like for example, this one will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So he's in the room, and that was all safe zone movement. And by the way, the dice are now, that's down to a 4. 4 turns left for him, and then 3 turns left for the dexterity enhancement, which I forgot to even take into account, but this guy gets a +2 to his roll. So he would have hit even better. So now we're going to go ahead and do the mage. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, if you're moving through other characters, it counts as 2 movement points. So by the mage finishing there, we now have a bigger range of safe zone. So the paladin, for example, has 6 movement, and it can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then because of his movement, 5, 6. So she was able to do the whole thing in safe movement. And then the paladin's going to go ahead and use this this thing. So what are we going to do? We're going to roll the dining room, and it says roll 3d6, and then if we roll a 6 or a 5, things happen. So I'm going to back up here. I didn't roll anything, so I didn't find anything on the table. So I don't know if you can use that again and again, or if it's just a one-time use. That is the one thing that was a little nebulous to me. I think you can use it again and again. You're just wasting actions. So that's the drawback. The next thing I'm going to do is, before I continue, as much as I loved this feature and these doors and this feature, all from AlterQuest, and I'm going to go ahead and pull those off to the side here. Because let's clean up some tiles. We're not coming back to these rooms. They're cleared. And this is like it's almost like a video game in a way, because once you clear some rooms, you can like not look behind you anymore. You don't have to go back. And then what we can do is we can slide this down, because I have this room here sitting on top of the dwarf. So now we can connect it up. Sorry. Bad camera, slipped out of my hand. Boy, I'm having a field day here. So now we're just focused on these 2 rooms. Once we go up these stairs, then it's going to be an upstairs set of rooms, and then we're good. Okay, the only one left to move is the Elven Forester, who has 6 movement. Oh, and the Barbarian. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the barbarian gets 5 movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So all that, of course, being safe movement. I guess you could argue I could move him there and we can roll again to check the table. Because a dwarf was going to find what the paladin missed. And then it says that we get something. A provision, I believe. Yes, 1 pack of provisions. So the only problem with that is that it's a big, giant stack of cards I have to go through just to find a pack of provisions. And then I can't remember if it's in the potion deck or the other one. It looks like it is not in the potion deck, so that was poor choice on my part. Go to the other one. We got some torches, ropes, supreme beers, picklocks. There it is. During expiration turn action, may be used to take these provisions. User recovers 1 health. I think that's perfect for this dwarf because he does have damage. He has a strength potion, a heroic potion, healing potion. There is a weight limit. It's the strength plus vitality. So the health. So 4 plus 5 is 9 times 2. Yeah, it's at 18. I got it written on his card. So you got to add up all the weight of everything. He can carry up to 18 points worth of stuff. So right now he's got 8, 9, 10, 11. He's up to 12. So he still has plenty of room. And then the money, the money counts as weight too. And we do have a lot of money at the moment. But yeah. All right, enough of that. It is now a new turn. So the Dark Lord is up to 8 points and we're at 7. And then the Fire Elemental is down to 3 turns. The Dexterity spell is down to 2 turns. And now we're going to open this door with the Rogue. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this. And this is what we don't want. Unless you want to battle, of course. Now that might actually happen. Because I think since it's a door that we're opening, this could be like a trap on the door. So I do draw a card. That is a possibility, is that we may have to deal with that. I may have also needed to roll this every time somebody checked the table. Let me check on that, and then I would roll it 2 more times. Okay, a couple of things. The furniture only gives you traps if it tells you to do that. The other thing is yes, the trap will apply to the door, but what we're going to do is we'll draw the trap card, and like in this case, it's a locked door, and see how it has a picture of a door symbol on the bottom? It has to have the picture of the door. If it doesn't, then that means the card we drew is just going to be discarded, and then you give him back his points. That's written down there. So yes, that will happen. And I need to figure out this locked door, I believe, is for upstairs when we deal with the boss. We're going to run into that. But yes, we have to draw a card for that. But there's also another issue I didn't resolve. And that is, at the end of combat, there were 4 dead enemies. We get to roll for looting the enemies. So there is, I believe we roll 4 dice. And it's just the number of 6s we roll. So that's not good. But I do think we get 4 gold for that. Let me find the section for looting corpses. I know what's in here. Okay. It's in here. I just got to find it. Okay, so each result of 4 or more results in 1 coin. So that is 4 coins. And I also realized something. You can search every room you're in. So for example, when the Elven Archer finished his turn, he can do a search with a perception check. So the Elven Archer has a perception, for example, of 1, because she has keen senses. So that's an 11, and that's a success. So then I roll 1d3, and I can get money. And this is in every room. So when you're searching the room, so here. These are all the actions a character can do. And one of them is search the room. You do a perception test, which I did, and I passed. I get a 1d3 plus 1 coins. On a double 6, I get to draw a treasure card. So I should be doing that in every room. I'm going to just retcon the elf's turn because, you know, the elf just moved and stopped. So we succeeded with that. I almost got the treasure. But then we do a 1d3 plus 1. And just understand, I don't roll 1d3 the way most people do. So most people do 1, 2, and 3 is 1, 2, and 3. And then, well, what most people do is they do 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, and 5 and 6 is 3. I don't do it that way. If it says a 1, it's worth 1. If it says 2, it's worth 2. If it says 3, it's worth 3. And then if it's a 4, it just starts over. That's worth 1, that's 2, and that's 3. That's the way I roll. I notice a lot of other people don't do it that way. I just wanted to clarify that. So I rolled a 2, which for some people that means I should only get 1 coin, but for me that means I get 2, because that's the way I roll, pun intended. All right, so that's 2 more coins for us, and yeah, like I said, we want to basically, and then I haven't forgotten, I need to draw this. I also needed to look up what this was for. And then the last thing is I'm supposed to roll when I stay at an inn to see if this guy happens. I think it's 1 for every hero. But basically, every turn it was supposed to move. So I'm going to say we had at least 1 week since then. So this thing would move to that location there. And then eventually when it catches us, something's going to happen. All right, so now that I'm caught up on all the other rules I read, trying to find the searching the corpses rule, yes, we got to draw a card. And here she be. And right there, that works on a door. So we're going to take 3 points off. So 1, 2, 3 points come off. And let's figure out what this guy does. So it's a dropping portcullis. So yeah, it's going to try to collapse on the character. In there you can see that there's a perception check of 7 and then only a dexterity of 4. So I need to roll a 7 or better to beat this. Now the halfling rogue has a +2. 1 from the lion, and then 1 from just being small. Gets a +1 for that. So gets a +2. So this should be a pass. Famous last words, right? Okay, so that's a pass. So what happens is we detect the trap. Now we have to try to disarm it. And a 4 is a really low roll. And I get a +1 because I'm a rogue. And I also get a +1 because I have pick locks. So +1 only for users with no negative. So I have +1 for this, and then just +1 for being a rogue. So I get a +2. In fact, I don't even think there was a way to miss. Well, actually, double 1s is a critical bad. So even if I get a +2, you would think, okay, you roll double 1s, you had +2, you get the 4 that you need. I still would have failed, but this was an easy pass there. So we made it. A little scary with the 1 and the dice spinning around like that. So I successfully disarmed this thing, and he spent his 3 points, but nothing happened to us. And so that does score a point for us, because we just successfully detected and picked the lock. So +1 there. Now it says +1 for detecting or disarming a trap. We did both, so arguably I would say that that's +2. That's part of the reason why I said that it's so important to have a good rogue in this game, because of the way the points get divvied out. This is a lot of point scoring. It says +1 for detecting or disarming. So I would assume I get +2 because I detected and disarmed. That's a great question. And I have nothing to look up here. This is all the more description I get. So maybe it'll make the game too easy. I don't know. I would more than welcome your thoughts on how you believe this should be. But I think I get +2 for that. So at least if you read it for its literal sense. So we are now in the lead with 9 points. And here we go. So the door's open. And I'm able to go in. There is nobody in the room. And remember, we now have 1 nothing burger. So if I ever get a second nothing burger, then I have to roll it a second time. So, you know, basically you can't go through the whole dungeon without ever getting an encounter. So safe zone again would be 1, 2. So no problem there. Technically with the door open, I think you're supposed to flip this over to show that the door is open. So I'm in 2, and since I'm the guy with the good perception, you basically send the thief to go first, and he gets in trouble, and because he's small and sneaky, he can get back out of it. So we're going to go 3, which is then going to cause us to roll the die again for a trap. And I do roll a trap, so we got another one coming. And this one, as you can see, is only for a chest. So he would spend 2, but he gets 2 back, and then this card gets discarded. So nothing there. That would have been a cool one to try, but yeah, nothing there. And then I'm going to look up where this locked door is. I'm pretty sure it's upstairs, but I want to make sure. Yes, it's definitely upstairs. Okay. Okay, so one more caveat. My assumption that you roll for a trap the first time you step out and then you don't roll for every step was wrong, at least based on how I read the rule. So I would have to, every step I take, I have to keep checking for a trap. That's part of the risk of moving ahead of the party. So I do remember what I was doing. I was moving here, that was the first one. So then it would be 2, 3, and then 4. So I got to roll 3 more times and see if there's any more traps. And if there was, then the rogue would have had to stop. And right there, the very first one would have been a potential trap. Now, because the rogue would have had to stop, the rogue would have been here. Well, technically here, because the trap is there. So the rogue would get an opportunity to disarm that trap. But then that's where they would have to stop. And so then, yes, everybody else could have gone up. That's all fine and good. And then on the next turn, when it was his turn, he would have moved up and gone to the door, and that trap would have stopped him there. So he would have been able to pick the lock on the door, but then somebody else would have had to go in, for example, like the lion, and then would have had to disable anything here. But there was no trap here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lion there and then have him stop, because I don't want the lion to be dealing with traps. He's got a high dexterity, but he doesn't have anything else. So let's do one more trap card. And see, this one would have only worked on a door. So that trap would have been a nothing burger. And so he would have spent 1 and got 1. And so actually he would have kept moving. So now we're going to roll again for the next space. And I rolled another one. So this is Vigilant Watchman. Dark player will get a +2 bonus to the result of the initiative roll after spawning creatures in a newly revealed section. Opens an explored door or reveals a section, but only if 1 or more creatures are spawned in the section. So here, this is where if the card is revealed and no creature spawn, keep it face up. It will be activated the next time they spawn creatures. So they'll get a +2 to their initiative roll, is what this is saying. So that stays up, but it's not a trap. So he's going to move again. And I rolled this. That doesn't do anything. And he's actually made it to the door. So when he opened that door, we drew a trap. And he, like I said, can't do anything with it. So I have to be careful. But my Forester has a pretty good perception. So he can go 1, This is 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he didn't quite make it up the stairs. And then same deal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know I moved them all in a gravy train, but I would have moved them in a manner that would have kept everybody in a safe zone. And I would not have like left a safe zone spot behind. So I know somebody's tempted to say, well, you would have just had to trigger traps again. I would have just changed the way they moved. Okay, so the interesting part about this is the rogue got slowed down because he had to use his action to pick the lock. Anytime there's a trap and you're perceiving the trap and picking the lock, your action, your turn is over. Now, we are in a new room, so I'm going to do a perception check with that one before the turn ends. So that's a 7, and it only gets a +1, so that's a fail. So wasn't able to detect anything in the room. Technically, everybody can do it. So this one can do it, you know, and then there's another one from the dwarf. And I don't know if the rogue is considered to be in the room or not, but the rogue doesn't have an action. So anyways, it's a little cumbersome, that part of having to, you know, remember a lot of these little things, but it all makes sense. It's just that there's a lot of it. Okay, so now it's time to go. This will take us upstairs to an upstairs room. And I want the rogue to be the one that go up there. So we're going to have to spend 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's people in the way. So I think I'm going to have the lion go 1, 2. And that's the limit of the safe zone. So I'm okay with that. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And if I do 4, that's putting us to the point where we're upstairs. So I'm looking at the, we need, yes. So I'm going to have to move the camera out of the way so I can move some stuff around. My apologies. We're still using 2 of these rooms here. But these rooms are going to go away very quickly. And basically the way it looks is we're going to have one of these going into one of these, and there's a door here that's closed. So we have to open this door before we reveal this room. We're just going up into a stairway, and I'm not going to consider that stairway to be a room. So what the dwarf is doing is basically going to there. So it went from here to there, and I'm going to count that as 1 movement point. You could say 2. So the dwarf went 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll just say 5? No, we'll do 5. He's right up near the door. Like so, okay? And then these tiles this big tile is going to go away the moment we go through that door. Okay, so now I have this pack of provisions I'm thinking of using with the dwarf because he's got 2 damage. He only has 5 health. It says during an exploration turn, which is what we're doing, an action may be used to take these provisions and the user recovers 1 point. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to recover 1 point of health. So he's down to 1 damage. And, you know, he got it for free. He'll use it for free. There's no harm, no foul. Okay, so why did I do all that? I did all this so I don't have to spend 2 movement points with the rogue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, this is the part where I needed to figure out. So So it's 6 to there. And then here we got 1, well, we need to move from the back, or otherwise we're going to lose safe zones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get ready to go up the stairs. By the way, there's only 2 turns left for this fire elemental, and 1 turn left for the dexterity enhancement. So that means it's the last turn for the dexterity. And then here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the mage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, I'm gonna go here. I don't want to. I want the rogue to open the door. The rogue has the best perception of everybody, so the best initiative roll. And then, did she go? I sort of forgot already. Did she go? I don't think she did. So we're just going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, and she's just going to be up here at the top of the stairs. Okay, so we go to another turn. And by the way, this guy would have scored 1. He's up to 10. Because we've taken 2 turns now, just moving through this room and the next room. And he's scoring points all along the way. And I'm going to go grab another threat token because I need to represent more than just 9 points there. Okay, so it's our turn, and we're going to have the rogue open that door. We're also going to have... Let's explore the room. So nobody's successfully exploring that room. That's all right. We move on to the next one. The rogue sort of blasted through it and didn't stop to explore. And since I said I'm not counting this as a room, I'm not going to explore the stairway. So we're going to go 1 and then 2 to open that door. So I know it's technically not open yet, but I'm going to go ahead and assume it is. And then let's roll. And I rolled a power thing, which means there's no encounter, there's no trap. But I have to roll again because this is 2 rooms now without an encounter. And I did roll a trap this time, but I don't think that's what the second roll's purpose is. The second roll's purpose is just for the purpose of an encounter. If there is not a result of an encounter, the die must be re-rolled when the heroes have entered a section by breaking a door if no enemies appeared in the last 2 sections, which this is the second section. In addition to the above, if it's a large, an encounter card is always activated. Yeah, so nothing happens. We rolled it a second time. It says it needs to be re-rolled. So should I technically be drawing a trap, even though there was no trap on the first roll? This is in the section of activation of encounter cards. I think the point of this is for encounters. I don't think the second roll... If there was no trap the first time, there's no trap the second time. Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and... there's some assumptions I'm making here, but this guy, the designer, makes common sense things all the time, so... I'm going to just go with common sense. I think the whole point of the second roll was to increase the chance of an encounter. So here we go. We got this, by the way, is the locked door. And I'm going to go ahead and just move this over to here to represent that. And so I did move 1. This is 2. And this would be 3. And now I'm getting out of safe zone. So that's 4. And I rolled a trap. And I got a locked door, so that doesn't happen. Then I'm going to go 5, another roll. I rolled another trap. And it's Magic Blast. And here you can see that's for a corridor, that's for a room. So this is going to happen. It's going to cost him 4 points. So he's down to 41 points. It affects the square occupied by the character who triggered it and has an area of effect of 2 squares. All the players in the area of effect suffer 3 damage. The player who suffered it suffers 6 damage dice, which this guy only has 3 health. So we need a 10. And remember, I get a +2. This is a tougher roll. And I got exactly a 10. So that was wonderful. All right, so we detected the trap. But what happens is he gets knocked back a space because the trap is technically there. And I don't know if I have a trap token I'm supposed to be putting there. But now we're going to go ahead and try to disarm it, which is a 9. And we get a +2 for this as well. Now you could argue he doesn't get a +2 to his perception because the lion's not next to him. However, he didn't need it for that roll. But for the disarming, he doesn't need it at all. He has +2. So that is a 7, +2 is 9. Holy cow, skin of our chinny chin chin. 6 damage would have been awful. So we do survive this, and we get rid of the card, and that's 2 more points for us. So once again, this is like what I was referring to of very, very beneficial to have a good thief in the party. So I'm up to 11 now points. The AI has 10. Okay, so we do get to move on to the spot with the trap as we disarmed it, but his turn's over, and there is no perception check. Thank goodness this person gets a +1 to perception, so we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to open the door, and I believe safe zones are all perfectly good. And then I rolled a 7 plus 2, no, 1 is 8. There was no, I didn't succeed in perceiving anything in the room. So the lion's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The lion, of course, is going to be right next to him. We determined that the number is going to be the back. And then I'm going to have to roll everybody from behind. All right, so the Forester actually does not have dexterity enhancement. So rather than searching the room, I really should have been casting a spell. So I'm going to use that roll as casting the spell. I totally forgot his spell expired. So we're going to cast dexterity enhancement a second time, which he can do. He can cast up to 3 times. It's going to cost him another mana, and that's 7. You add his magic ability, which is, or his intelligence, which is 5. We easily got over 10. So I'm going to go ahead and show you with the camera. This was his intelligence. So it's just another 1 point of mana, and I'm just representing that it's been cast twice. And because we rolled a 5, this becomes a 5. So it's going to last for 5 turns. And remember, it gives him +2 dexterity and +2 to his shooting. That's the gist of that. We could be casting it on the rogue, but I sort of like casting it on the archer. It's actually not a bad move. Okay, this is the last turn for the fire elemental. It's not even worth moving, but 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to go 5, and he's going to fizzle out. So, and I just said fire elemental. It's really the water. I would swear to you, I saw the water elemental token, and I probably even got it out and said, hey, I need to use this. And then I put it somewhere where I won't lose it, and now here I am. I have no idea where it is. So, it's still funny. Okay, the wizard is off camera here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paladin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the barbarian, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what that allows me to do is I'm going to pull the camera back, and we're going to just clean up all these tiles. Get rid of them. We're going to keep this room because that's going to be used that is the main room for this scenario. So that door is going to open like this. Actually, like that. So that is the main room, the final room of the mission. So the AI is going to score 1 more point. So he's going to get to 11. He's tied with me. We're neck and neck. So if I wouldn't, oh, no, we're not neck and neck. I cast another spell, so that gave me 1 more point. So we're ahead by 1. And then he scored a point because our turn just ended. And we don't have this room opened yet. Once we go into this final room, he doesn't score points anymore at the beginning of his turn. So he does score points at the beginning of every combat round. So that's something to bear in mind, but not the case here. So other than the possibility of getting knocked out because he hits us, we're doing great. We're ahead in points right now. Assuming I open this door this round, there will be no more point scoring from him unless he knocks us out. Or we spend fortune points, which is what happens when he knocks us out. The fortune points could get him some much needed points. We are going to get, for opening a lock on the door, we're going to get +1 for that. We never found a secret door, but we're also going to get +1 for the main room. Special elements are very special. They're not like the dining room table, so you don't get +1 for that. And then up to 5 points for the spell casting, which is another reason why I'm keeping the mana count off to the side. So far, we've cast 3 spells, the water elemental and plus the dexterity twice. So we're doing good there. We're going to be able to score another point with the wizard if we go in and, we could use the treacherous waters spell, the water elemental, we can bring it back. The wizard also has the water of life, which I actually may want to consider doing. The wizard is next to only the paladin right now, so that doesn't help us. Was next to the barbarian. The paladin does have 1 damage. Actually, we're doing okay with damage. And the paladin actually has the ability to heal too. It's the lion that needs to be healed. So I could theoretically keep the lion back. You know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep the lion back. Remember, you can calculate all your moves ahead of time. So retconning this, please don't get bent out of shape over that. And then we're going to use the paladin's healing light. Now, the way this works is it will heal 4 damage, which is fine, and it's any character, so that means it could be the lion. And obviously, it's a one-time use per mission, so I don't get to use it again. Is it considered casting a spell? I'm going to say yes, it is. So in terms of scoring points, I'm going to say yes, that would score me a point. That's a touchy subject, but it is a spell. It's a healing light spell. It's just that the way paladins cast it is they cast it with their courage. And so I rolled an 8, and then I add the courage instead of the intelligence. Now, the intelligence is 4, and so is the courage. So we're adding 4 either way. So that's a definite pass. And then I heal 4 points on the lion, which that's a big deal. The lion was actually close to being knocked out. Okay. I will score a point for that, so I'm going to move us up to 13, and the Dark Lord is at 11. One other thing. In my attempt to reread the rules before I started recording, because like I said, it's been a week since I've played this, the courage skill. I was like, what the heck does courage do? Because I couldn't remember. When we're fighting characters who cause fear, which we haven't run into those yet, the characters who cause fear, you have to do courage checks from time to time, or otherwise I think you lose your initiative, or you lose you lose movement, you lose something. I don't remember what, but the point is you have to do courage checks. And I think if anything, it's I think what you do is you lose your ability to hit. So like you're trying to hit something that is causing fear, you're going to get a -1 to your combat skill. And then if it's bigger than you, like an ogre is bigger than a human, then remember the tall thing. So like the Hobbit here is super tiny. Everything's bigger than him pretty much. he would technically have to do fear checks, and he automatically gets a -1, even if he passes his fear check, or no, he gets a -1 because he's small. I have to check to see. I think he gets a -1 to his fear check because he's smaller, but he could still theoretically pass. His courage, by the way, is 5. So, that's pretty thematic. Hobbits being filled with courage. Gandalf always said so. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this. We did have a fireplace. I didn't bother with that. I think the armory might not. That's gone. Let's see. What else? There's going to be a cupboard in this next room. So there's going to be some beds, and there's some treasure chests. So I'm going to get rid of these other furniture cards so I can make room here. And then we're going to go ahead and slide this over just a little bit so I can get it in front of the camera better. And the way it's going to work is I'm looking at the board here. We're going to have some cupboards, which I'm going to represent again with this. And those go there along the wall. Oh, they're going to go here. And then we have a bed, which I couldn't find. So I'm going to just put this to represent the bed. It's just a table with fish on it. But think of that as a bed. And then there's a treasure chest here and another one there. So there's 2 treasure chests. Now the thing that's interesting is I don't think you get to open them. Treasure chests are something and all that ilk, like you have to do it before the mission ends. So let me check. Maybe the rogue, while everybody else is fighting, is going to be sneaking over and going after. Okay, a couple of things. The first one is every piece of furniture can only be searched once. So I'm going to add 1 damage back to our dwarf barbarian, because he never actually, he searched that dining room table after the paladin did. That's illegal. I wasn't allowed to do that. So I would never have gotten those provisions. I never would have healed that 1 damage like I did. So nothing there. The next thing is, does it cost an action to take a potion? And that is putting armor on and off. It does. So I'm looking at actions here. Start revealing a new section. Opening doors. Opening a locked door. Opening chests. Which, by the way, it is right here. It says it's pick locks test, but it said dexterity in the rule book. So this is a contradiction. And it says you just use dexterity to open chest. The thing is what you do is you roll a trap die. And my guess is that the trap die, I mean, is it a luck chest or not, is really the question. And that's the, I would assume that, yes, it is. So we're going to try to use the pick lock instead. But the dexterity would be a much easier way to open chests. I mean, my goodness, you have a dexterity of 5. Solving riddles, breaking doors. You can break chests, but it creates noise, and we have a bunch of rules for that. And here's our health. Running, which is something we've not done yet, but you basically get to go up to maximum distance. Climbing out of pits, searching for doors, searching rooms. We've been doing that one a few times. Searching or interacting, deactivating traps, we've done that. Searching corpses. Oh, right there it is. Roll 1d6 for every light guy. Yeah, and each result of 4 or more is a coin. 2 or more results of 6 is check rulebook. Okay, then persuading and moving furniture. So none of those involve quaffing a potion. So I'm going to assume that you can take a potion and it doesn't count as your action. It's sort of like a free action you can do. And the reason I'm saying that is because I may take potions to help me with this battle. I know this is going to be a big battle. There's a leader boss in here. I can't help but know that because I had to look and set up the mission. So with all that anticipation out of the way, we're going to activate our rogue here, and we're going to go and open this door. So in doing so, I roll a die, and there's no trap on the door. There is an automatic spawning here because the last two rooms weren't spawned. So there's that. And then this is the main room. So there's automatic spawning because of that. And I got to sort out what does what. So if this was not the main room, we would have gotten an automatic spawn because the last two rooms did not spawn anything. So that by itself, it's not a question. It's just that since this is the main room, do I spawn what's normally getting spawned here plus that, or does that just get canceled? That's the part I gotta sort out in my mind. Give me a... Okay, so what it says is that in large sections that's not the main room, then yes, an encounter card is drawn no matter what. It does say that, you know, if the previous two rooms was not an encounter, we're just rolling the door. We roll the die twice, but that does not mean that it happens. It just, so like if this was a third small room and I did not roll an encounter card die, nobody would necessarily spawn. Even though it's 3 rooms, I just would have had to roll the die twice. So I do need to roll the die though, because of this. And so I rolled it once, I have to roll it a second time. And I got it again. So there's going to be no enemies that spawn because of the die. Now what is going to happen is the leader's going to spawn, and then it's going to be, we're going to do what's called the enemy spotted. So on here, you can see enemy spotted, and we're going to roll a die to see who spawns in the room with him. We add +1 because it's large. Then we're going to add 1 because I think it's like 57. So we're going to add 1 more. So we're adding +2 there. And then the rule book says, oh, it's just saying the same thing. So we're going to add +2 to our die and then determine what gets there. Now, I did make one mistake. It's a minor one, but we got to retcon it. There's a locked door, this thing. So this is already in place from the start of the mission. So we got to spend the 1 point here. So he's now down to 40. And I need to get a 10 lockpick to get this sucker open. It can be opened stealthily. See, it says by passing a dexterity check test. So that's the lockpick symbol, but it's a dexterity check. The door will be open. Otherwise, it can only be broken. If this card wasn't revealed while trying to open a door, keep it face up. Yeah. So, oh, you know what? I'm screwing up. Dexterity is different than agility. Agility is what I keep thinking of. Dexterity is this symbol. So there's no hypocrisy in the rule book. My apologies. My dexterity gets a +2. I still have to roll an 8 or better. That's what I mean by this is tough, and then we may have to break the door down. So let's see. Oh, there we go. Beautiful roll. So I just picked open another door, and that scored me another point. So I'm now at 14, and the Dark Lord is at 11. So got another point. Now remember, fortune points could still be had here, so he could still score some points. But this is now done, and now we resume normally scheduled programming, and that die roll would have been done twice, and we got the power die both times. Had I gotten this, in addition to the normal spawn, there would have been an additional spawn in the room. That would have been nasty. So that would have been a very nasty final battle, but that's not going to be the case. But we do have to roll a die, and I rolled a 6, which is not good. So we add +2 to that. So now we're going to get an 8. So it's going to cost 8 VP points. And then we have to, the leader himself is 5, according to the scenario book. So I have to spend 5 points for him. So that's 13 points that he's spending. He's got plenty of them. So we're at 40. There's 10. And then 11, 12, 13. So he still has 37 points left. So plenty of points for him to wreak havoc on us. And so number 8 here is a dwarf bandit with a battle axe. We've seen him before. So we're going to go ahead and get one of these out there. And remember, we got to figure out the lineup. The lineup, of course, this is the door. I'm stepping onto the door right there. So the first guy is going to spawn straight across like that. And then then we go to the right and we fill up the room. So next is a shooter with the arquebus. So another one of them. So he would go there. Next is 2 ratfolk bandits with a short sword and sling. So similar results there. And I'm going to assume that one of them goes here. And because this is a large room, they still checkerboard, but you go back one. So he's there, and then the next one is an elf bandit, which might be that one. Yeah, that looks about right. And there's an elf bandit. And then we need the boss leader, the bandit boss, which is in here. Just bear with me as I find him. There's a lot of different choices here for sure. Here you go, bandit boss. Okay, so I got to get out the cards real quick. The shooter is a regular dude. You've seen him before. No goblin bandit, no orc bandit, no ogre bandit. Oh, that's what the elf bandit looks like. So the elf bandit is this one. I grabbed the wrong token, but it should be good. No outlaw sorcerer. Here's the bandit boss. You can see he's a leader, so he has the red number there. No assassin, no warhounds, no human bandit. That's what I ended up grabbing a human bandit picture, so forgive me there. A dwarf bandit and a rat folk bandit. So we got all normal guys and one red. That's all I was trying to figure out, is like maybe one of them was yellow. Remember, we get extra points for killing red versus yellow versus white. Then the leader, according to the scenario, he's over here by the fireplace. So he's pretty far away, at least initially. Okay, so looking at the AI, we have melee, archer, melee, and archer. So still it's going to be only two AI cards dictating what they do. So I got those out. And we should be good to go. The placement rules, I may have to reorganize them because I think the archers are further back according to the placement rules. So let me check that real quick. Placing creatures in rooms. So in case of the first creature must be placed opposite the hero who visualizes the section. First, the creatures with the lowest VP will be placed. In case of equality, then it's going to be no range attack, then long range, and then range or spells. Okay, so I got to look at these cards again. The dwarf bandit and the shooter and the rat. So rat folk and shooter have only one VP. So they actually would be first. And then the dwarf bandit and the elf bandit have 2. So they would be further back. So I gotta rearrange these a little bit. This is the the dwarf. So the shooter and the rat folk, so all three of them would be up front, and then the dwarf would be here, and then the elf would be there. That covers it. The elf, let's see, I rolled an 8. So the elf bandit is just standard. Everything seems pretty standard here, so we're good. Now the bandit boss has all kinds of crap. Let's study him for a second. So you can see on the back here, he's got 1,000,000 skills. But let's see what he starts with. So he starts with a chainmail and shield. And the scenario book says he has a broadsword, a shield, and a chainmail. So the chainmail and shield works. And he has the broadsword weapon. He doesn't have the scimitar or mace. And he doesn't have the bastard sword. And then, of course, these things that cost extra VP. So broadsword there. And then the shield. And then here, this is for that power die, right? So if he ever gets the power die... Oh, hold on. Yeah, the power die would... You know, he spends these to get these extra skills. I'm pretty sure he's spending them... Because this is the final battle. I thought he spends them in the final battle. 1 second, let me... Okay, I finally found the section I was looking for. It's page 64. It's called Leader. It's a leader section. And so a couple zany rules with this. First of all, the leader costs 5 points. We had 40, or the Dark Lord had 40. Easily able to spend the 5 points for the leader. Not a concern there. What it says now is that when the heroes are visualized in the main room, after all creatures have been placed, reduce the reserve point counter to 10. All unspent points will be used as follows. For every 2 reserve points not spent, the leader gets an extra vitality. If the leader has the invulnerable skill or the armor value of 6, he will get only 1 vitality instead. So he does not have either of those, I don't think. The leader gets 1 extra action at the start of his activation for each hero above the second one, with a maximum of 2 extra actions each turn. So he's going to get 3 actions each turn. So, because we have 5 heroes. If he has double attack, he only gets 1 extra action. So basically, he performs 3 attacks. In those quests in which a reserve point counter is not used, the leader gets 1 for every 10 VP of the hero. As soon as so as soon as the leader spawned, we have to roll a d6. I rolled a 2. So what it says is that that determines the extra skills it has. The creature's profile icon includes extra skills it can get. For each result of 1, they get 1 skill worth 1 victory point. For a 2, they get 1 skill worth 2 victory points, and so on. And so they're going to get 1 skill worth 2 victory points. Or it's actually not victory points. You know what I mean. It's virtue points. So that's going to cost 2. So that brings it down to 35. And I think what it's saying is because I'm at 35, I reduce this thing down to 10, and this leader is going to get a crap ton of extra hit points. Because 35 minus 10 is 25, and for every 2 reserve points not spent, the leader gets an extra vitality point. So at 25, I'm going to round down, so we'll just do 24. He's going to get 12 extra hit points, is what I believe this is saying. So that would put him, because he comes with 5, so that puts him to 17 hit points, which we're going to have to count on a little tracker here. I can just put a die here over on 17. And yeah, there's a bit of insanity there, but we'll have to deal with it. So and then if the leader ever dies, everybody around them has to, that's not a yellow. So all these white base guys, they have to do a courage check. And of course that's rolling a 10 and then adding their courage. If they fail, they immediately run away. So there's no, so taking out the leader first does sound juicy if you can somehow pull it off. I mean, it has 17 health. So that's a lot of damage I'm gonna have to come up with. Okay, so a few things. We gotta get, I rolled a 2, so we gotta give him a 2 point something, which we took the 2 points away. We paid for all the spawning, and he just gets a bunch of extra vitality points, and he's gonna get to do 3 actions on his turn. Which is basically going to be 3 attacks, potentially. So he'll get to do 3 actions. Yeah, it's a lot to keep track of, that's for sure. But I know when a leader's supposed to be quite meaty, and I don't have a problem with that. So here you can see that this is all 1 VP. But if we go to the back, it might tell us. Like there's some more equipment there. These are the skills he has for sure, and then these are the ones that he can buy. So which one does he buy? Because they're all 1 VP. I think he buys the first 2. And then if you rolled a 3, a 4, and a 5, you would get them all. So he's going to be a Dirty Fighter and Elite. That's my guess. So Dirty Fighter, if the character gets a result of doubles, while attacking or defending, he automatically stuns the opponent. And then Elite, it requires a combat equal to or greater than 4. Character may re-roll melee hitting rolls with a result of 1. So that would be like for damage, like to the armor. So if he only rolls a 1, he gets to re-roll those. That is a little brutal, because if he does hit you, that means he's going to hit you hard. He's going to score some points here, because I think with his 3 attacks, he's going to make our hit points go down. But we need to get our Paladin up against him right away. That's what she's for. She has a shield. And then last but not least, the Vigilant Walkman is going to give them +2 bonus to the result of their initiative roll. So that's triggering right now. And it's the best perception. So the bandit boss has a -1. So that's not very good. 0, 0, 0, and the elf bandit is 1. So we're going to use the elf bandit. So it's their perception versus ours. We get a +2, they get a +1. So here we go. I rolled a 7, +2 is 9. They rolled a 9. So they win. That's not good. That's not good. And then not only that, but they got a +2 because of the card. So they win this perception check, which I believe means that they're getting an attack on us for free. So, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2d6 plus the perception of the hero. You don't succeed. If the heroes win, it's a new turn for them. If the heroes lose, the turn ends for them and the dark player turn begins. Yeah, and there's no ambush card or anything like that. So it just means that they go first. So that's bad for us, but we're sort of sitting in the next room. Okay, I need a caffeine break. All right, let's do it. Final boss, final battle. The ranged guys go first, and I think what's going to end up happening spellcasters and wizards first, range attacks second, and then leaders, then the rest of creatures, in order of their agility, not dexterity. So we got this range guy right here. Easiest to hit is an interesting calculation. You could argue that they could see through the doorway and to the back here. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means a -1 to the lion. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 is still a -1 to the elf. The elf has a higher dexterity than the shooter does. The shooter has a 3. So the elf gives them a -2. The rogue also gives them a -2. -1 for being small, but not a -1 for the distance, but then another -1 because of the agility. So I think we're going to just go ahead and shoot at the rogue. And so I rolled an 8, which is bad. They add 3, that puts him to 11, but because of the -2, that just put him at a 9, so he missed. So thank goodness there. That guy's done. So now we got the rat shooter, who can shoot 1, 2, 3 spaces away. He also gets a -2. And I rolled a 10 with him. So thank goodness for the, well, he adds 3. Becomes 13. That's not good. Yeah, he's going to hit. However, the sling is a -1. So that saved me by the skin of my chinny chin chin right there. So basically he got a -3, which negated his bonus. So that 10 -3 plus 3 -3, it's still a 10. That means he hits. Oh no. Yeah, as much as I was getting excited there, that's a hit. So he hits with 3 dice. And the rogue has leather armor. I keep forgetting about that. And it causes his agility to be reduced by 1, but it's still a 4, even after it's reduced by 1. And so that means his armor is actually a 4. And look at that, I rolled 2 6s for him. So that's 2 hits on the rogue. He has 3 health, so he'll take the hits. He's down to 1 health left. That's not good. Okay, and then we got the other ratkin also going to attack the rogue, but he's in a bigger problem. 1, 2, well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he can do it, but he gets a -3. There's a 9 plus 3, and then he actually does a -4 because the sling gives him another -1. So this guy missed. Now we move on to the melee, which is the leader. The leader's going next. He uses the melee card. Okay, so obviously they want to go out to the enemy easiest to hit. Lowest armor, never tries to disengage. He'll push. If he wins, creature with level 1 or 2 prioritizes target their attacks. Those enemies engage with their leader. So, anyways, the bandit boss is going to move halfway across the map. He has 5 movement points. So, first action, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second action, 1, 2, 3. And you could argue that somebody else is maybe easier to hit, but he doesn't get any -1s against the Hobbit. So that move is the second action. Let's see. Nope, he gets 2 attacks in. So he's gonna score some points here. So here's the first attack. We rolled an 11, which was amazing. He rolled a 7. So he adds 5 because he has a combat skill of 5. So that becomes a 12. And because we rolled an 11, that saved us. We had 3 more. Our combat's only a 3. So we actually avoided him. And I'm shocked. We're going to need another miracle roll. And this time we did not get it. We got a 6 and he got an 8. He's for sure hitting us. This would reduce our armor if we had any, or I'm sorry, our shield if we had any. His broadsword is 5 damage dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm using up all my dice elsewhere. It's going to be 5 damage dice. We're going to definitely be using fortune points here. And sure enough, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3. This is a miss. That's 4 hits. And so I'm going to have to use a fortune point. So right now I'm using 1, and I got to roll a 5 or a 6. I did not. I rolled a 2. So I have to now use 2 fortune points to save my skin. And that scores him 2 points over here, so he's up to 13. So that guy is nasty. But he's now up in my grill, and but I'm not over. I mean, this rogue is in trouble. The next one up is the, is it going to be the elf or the dwarf? It should be the elf. Yep, definitely the elf. And she has leather armor. What does she have? It says leather armor and a scimitar, dagger, and longbow. So which is it? Does she have a longbow or? I mean, I guess she has them all. So that means she would have shot with her longbow. And she does do pretty well. She gets a +4. So let's go ahead and roll for her. That's a 5 + 4 is a miss. Doesn't even matter. And she would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would have gotten a -1. Another -1 for the being small. And then his agility was still better. So she has acrobat. What does acrobat do? Okay, yeah. So we're good there. She would have shot her longbow and missed. So then we have the dwarven bandit who has leather armor and shield and an axe. So he moves 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, when he successfully hit him, he would have knocked him back. And I think he would have knocked him down. And I got to look up that roll now. Jesus. I think knocking him down means he's easier to... Okay, so what happens is he does get pushed back, but that's all that happens. He gets pushed back. He does not get knocked down unless there was a critical, like a double critical. Or if this thing was extra, extra large compared to him. And he's only 1 size larger. So it knocks him back. And remember, he didn't hit the rogue until the 3rd and final attack, so he doesn't move forward. But what it does mean, though, is this guy who was 1, 2, 3, 4 has nobody to hit. So all he does is move up, and then nothing happens. So we got a lot of problems. The rogue is down to 1 health. The rogue wants to get to those treasure chests, but we got like all these people in the way, and he's exuding a range around him, which is allowing these archers to just shoot from behind, and not a whole lot is going to happen there. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when the archers shoot, if they will roll something like this and they fail, this 1 means that they hit their ally. That works against them just like it works against us. I keep forgetting that rule, but that's something to remember. So this particular battle is problematic for a lot of reasons. Mainly the reason that we're confined into the space of this doorway. Because we lost the initiative, we weren't able to break out into the room and take down those archers before the melee guys ran in to do what they did. The initiative really hurt us here. Do I think we're okay? I mean, we should be. I just don't know how to get the rogue out. The rogue can ignore his melee range and get by him, but then as soon as the rogue gets here, he has to stop again, and going up against these archers is not going to be fun work for him. So that's a bit of a problem. So I do have an archer myself, so I can make short work of somebody if possible. But I think the first thing I want to do is let's get the paladin up there and let's engage with the leader, because that's the right level of engagement. I don't want them storming into the room any further. We're going to make sure we do that. And then what I think I also want to do is this magic user. We're going to get the water elemental who's disguised, who has identity issues. We're going to get him into the game. In fact, I want to do that first, because that's just a one and done. We're going to get the spell cast, see if that's successful, and then see if we can get him in the game. Because I would like to push him into the room, because who cares if he dies? Like, he's sort of a cannon fodder for us. And then he's also going to be very deadly if he ever can get into the battle. So here we go. So 5, and then I add his intelligence, which is 5 more, and I get to 10, and I just barely made it. Now, he's only going to be around for 3 rounds, because that's the largest number I rolled. I still have 6 mana left after casting this, and it has to be in a space next to me. And he does not get to move, but he could attack. The problem is he doesn't have any range attack, I don't think. He's large, he's fearsome, he sweeps, he's invulnerable, onslaught, undead. Yeah, that's all he does. So, but he's at least on the board, and we're basically going to get 3 rounds with him. I think this counts as one of the 3 rounds, even though he doesn't move. That's a little lame if you ask me. But so basically we're going to get 2 real rounds where he actually gets to move in and attack something. Technically I can cast it a 3rd time. If you're not a regular wizard, you can only cast a spell twice. I think he has... No, he does not. If you had like expert wizard skill, I think you get to cast something 3 times. So we're at our limit. We can't cast this anymore. So my apologies there. Okay, so we got that in place. We scored a point for that. So we're up to 15, and he is at 13. So it's still neck and neck, but as we kill people, we are going to get points for all those. So now we're going to do the paladin versus the leader. The leader does not have he does have a shield, so this makes it even worse. All right, so he rolled a 6, we rolled a 4. That is awful. Let me do some calculations here. We add 5, so 4 plus 5 is 9. He's at 6. He also adds 5, so we missed. The paladin was not able to hit him, and that blows. Okay, so that's done. I got a lion, of course, which really can make short work of him. But the problem is that he is blocking that door right now. I can get the barbarian up there. He's got a real good chance of hitting him. Yeah, we'll do that. So the barbarian's going to move up. Now by doing this, I'm blocking the fire elemental. But if I can just hit the guy, I can push him back. And then it allows somebody else to come into the room. So let's try it. So he rolled a 6, but we rolled a 7. The barbarian adds 5. That's 12. 6, he adds 5. That's 11. We succeed. So we made it through. Now, he did roll doubles. Dirty Fighter. If a character gets a result of doubles, while attacking or defending in melee combat, he will automatically stun an opponent. Never a huge one. But when does he stun him? Like right now? Fudge buckets. So if he stuns, that means we don't actually hit, even though we won the attack. That makes no sense. The least he should do is I mean, you gotta at least win the attack. Or the defense. I mean, I know he's a dirty fighter. Yeah, it says he automatically stuns. Oh, crap buckets. All right, I gotta look up what's... Okay, well, the good news is stun in this game is not as bad as stun in most games. Although it's bad. He gets a -1 to all of his attributes, except for things like spell points and vitality. So when determining like his strength, he has a -1 to his strength, so that means he'll roll 1 less damage die against him. So at the beginning of his turn, he can try to recover from stun, and that's really the key. And I'm sure I have a stun token here. I'm probably grabbing the wrong one, but we're gonna go ahead and use this to represent stun. It looks like a stun. So the dwarf is stunned. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it on his character card instead of out here on the board. Okay, so we would get to roll damage dice, right? Because we hit him. And that part is good. We are all about the damage dice. However, he has a shield, which means he could block everything. He blocks on a 5 or better. We did not roll a 6. If we did, that would have made it need to be a 6 or better. So let's roll for him. I rolled a 4, thank goodness. So we do hit him. And so the shield doesn't do anything. Let's see here. So our damage dice is normally, we get the strength +2, which is a 4 + 2 is 6 dice. Now it's only 5 dice because we get a -1. So here we go. And I rolled like crap, absolute crap. His armor, by the way, is 5. This guy is like impossible to kill. Holy cow, his armor is 5, folks. So I roll again. There we go. There's 1 hit on a 17 hit point guy. So he's now down to 16. But here's the key thing. I do get to knock him back. And so I'm going to knock him diagonally back to there. So that opens a pathway. So now we can run into the room. And that was the key. I just needed to hit him to knock him back. We got these two blocking the door, which is fine. I do have my archer, which I'm going to take advantage of right now. So who am I going to shoot? I don't want to shoot Mr. Block Everything. I want to take out these other guys. So we're going to shoot this shooter right here. And I just rolled an 11, which is amazing. So there's no blocking that. The number of dice is 4. And then the shooter dude has an armor of 3. So here we go. And I missed twice. I do hit twice. Shooter has 4 hit points. So we just did 2 hits on the shooter. I'm going to go ahead and put the card down underneath the camera here and put 2 hits on him to represent that he got hit. The boss, I'm tracking him on the big tracker, but everybody else I'll track separately. Okay, so he's halfway dead, but not good enough. Okay, let's go ahead and get the lion in there. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I have to stop. There's a couple of things. He would have done a defensive shot against the paladin, and he rolled a critical fail. So the critical fail for him means that he has to now roll to see if he loses his weapon. So it's the arquebus, and he rolled a blunder, so on a 1 to a 4, his weapon breaks. And I rolled a freaking 5. Jerk. All right, I rolled a 5. Yeah, I know it says 6, but it was a 5. So his weapon did not break on the critical fail. That would have been glorious. Yeah, nothing really to add there. This guy would have also shot because he's 1, 2, 3 away again at the paladin, and so yeah, that's also a miss, and we're good there. They get the -2 to their roll, so even though they had a 3, it would have been below. And then and actually they get another -1 because they're using a sling. So it would have been minus 3. -2 because it's a defensive shot, -1 because of their sling, so it would have been -3, which basically negates their entire bonus. Okay. The other guy is 1, 2, 3, 4 away, so now he's shooting at the lion. And again, it's a 7. And by the way, it would have been another -1 because the agility is higher for the lion. For the paladin, that was not the case. So it's another miss for them. So yeah, the lion went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going to go 6, 7, and then we're going to start chomping on the guy at the end. So let's do that. And of course we rolled very poorly, the 5 versus 7. So now I got to see, the 7 adds 3 more for 10. This is a 5 plus 5 more for 10. And the lion's going to win because the lion has 5 agility and they have 4. So the lion does actually hit him, barely. And he rolls 5 dice. And it's an armor of 3, and the rat folk only has 3 health. So I don't even need to roll the last die. This rat folk died. So we got 1. So he's down, and that's another point for the good guys. We're at 16. He's at 13. Okay, then all I have left is the Hobbit, which I know it's bad news because I'm going to be running in the middle of all these guys. But I think I'm going to do it. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I get to ignore 1 person, but there's 2 here. So I have to stop. And I'm going to try to finish this guy off. So I rolled an 8. He rolled a 6. The shooter adds 3 for 9. I add 3 as well. I do hit, but I only get to roll 2 dice for damage. And he does get a -1 to his armor, so I only need a 2 or more to hit. And that's because of the short sword. And there you go. There's 2 wonderful hits. And that's all I needed. I needed 2. So we killed this guy. That's the one with the aquabazier. So, or aquabus, they called it. So we got another point. We're at 17. He's at 13. I'm out of actions. It's his turn. He no longer scores points because, of his thing. So now the archers go first. So we got some situation here. He's a -1 to all of the archers, no matter what. But there's a -1 because he's shooting more spaces away. However, his agility is lower, so he can hit him even with a -1 better than him because he's actually at a -2. The lion is also at a he's at a -1. The lion is. Oh, but the lion is in short range. They're going to shoot the lion, both of them. Actually, this one will shoot the barbarian. So let's start with that one. It's the rat folk. So he rolled a 10. He gets to add 3. And he only subtracts 1 because of his sling. So he does hit the barbarian, unfortunately. And so I got to look at the rat folk card. The sling rolls 3 dice. And the barbarian has 4 armor. So there's a miss, there's a miss, there's a hit. So that's the 3rd hit on the barbarian out of 5. And the armor doesn't get reduced because the barbarian's stunned. All right, next is the shot on the lion, which is by the longbow arrow. And that is a very poor roll. That's a 4. The elf bandit does get to add 4 to his, but 4 plus 4 is 8. That's not the 10 that he needs. And the lion did have a -1 because of the high agility. So nothing happens. And that was a lucky roll there, because that longbow is pretty good. So then we move to the leader, who's next. He goes after the juiciest target, which is going to be the half-elf, or the rogue. So he's going to come over and try to attack the rogue again. This was the part where this is troublesome for me, because he does 3 attacks here. So this is pure luck. At 4 plus 5 is 9. This is 8 plus 3. So we actually succeeded. And he didn't get any doubles or anything crazy like that. So that's number 1. Let's do number 2. That's an awful roll. We rolled an 8, which was healthy, but this is definitely a hit. So he's going to roll a crap ton of dice. And basically, we would die. So we're going to spend another fortune point. And then I have to spend 2 fortune points to save myself. So I'm down to just 1. Or I'm sorry, I have only 2 fortune points left with him. But he scores 2 points. So he's up to 15 now. We're at 17. And then he gets to do a 3rd attack, and he's going to attack the hobbit again, because that's what he gets to do. And he got a 9, and we got a 6, so he does it again. And there's 1, 2, 3. So again, I'm spending a fortune point. But this time I only had to spend 1. And I do save him. And he's up to 16 points. We're at 17. That hobbit's in trouble. Now you could argue that this dwarf is going to attack the hobbit. However, the dwarf is tied up by the paladin. So the dwarf has no choice but to attack the paladin. And he rolled a 4, and we rolled an 8. So there was nothing happening there. Okay, that was the rogue is in trouble. However, we can maybe get out of there and start running to the chest, which means that we're no longer going to be the target to all these shots. So what I want to do is I want to start, it's a new round. We're down to 2 turns left on the fire elemental, and I forgot to be changing the other guy. We're down to 3 turns left on the dexterity enhancement, which gives the +2 to our archer here. So I want to do that. I want to shoot with the archer. Oh no, we're going to do the lion first. So this lion is going to try to take out this little ratkin here. So let's go for it. Oh my gosh, we rolled double 6s. I don't even know what that does. That's a double crit. What does that do? I think we for sure knock him down. Holy crap, I don't remember. A double crit on a melee? There's a blunder if you... I mean, it for sure can't be blocked. That much I know. So... Oh crap, how come I can't find things when I want to? So it's in the melee section. I actually don't think it does anything other than it knocks them down. Which, when they're knocked down, they're really easy to hit. So yeah, melee combat. There's attacks from behind, which we're not doing here. There's critical failures. Yeah, the only thing that it does is like a double crit like this means that it can't be blocked with a shield. So no matter what, they're taking the damage. So, yeah, okay. All right, well, that's fine. I mean, the lion rolls 5 dice here. And there's 2 hits. And there's the 3rd, which I was sweating a little bit. And yeah, the ratkin is dead. So we score another point. We're up to 18. and he can't move because he's stuck there. But the big thing is that I can get this guy. I can ignore his melee, and I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm behind this bed. This counts as heavy cover for the purposes of archery. He gets a -1 because he's small. He is in point blank range, but this adds another -2. So it's a -3 to his die roll to hit him. So he's more or less out of the woods. We're going to go ahead and try to get this chest. There's another chest there, but we're going to go for this one right now. And we have to roll to see if it's got a trap. It does. That blows, but this trap card is not on chests. It's only for doors. So, so we're good there. And then now we're going to go ahead and roll for picking the lock. And I believe we need a 10. So I did not do very well. I rolled a 3. So I failed the pick lock. And so that means now that the chest has to be broken open with like attacks and stuff like that. But what I'll do is I'll just move around the back and then try to pick this one. You only get one shot. I do have the pick lock skill here. So if I had a critical failure, they would break. So it's just +1. That's all it does. So it's nice to have the +2, but when you roll crap, that's what you get. Okay, so I think the rogue is going to be safe, being down to 1 fortune point. And then, of course, we have the paladin. We still have the barbarian. I think what I want to do is I'm going to move the barbarian in like so, and he's going to be sideways here. This guy is not going to be able to get a behind him attack. The barbarian is going to engage him because I need the paladin to keep him engaged because the paladin has shields. So we're going to go ahead and get the barbarian going here. I rolled a 6, which wasn't very good, but he rolled a double fail. So now we're going to see if... So let's see here. The rat folk bandits are both killed, so I'm going to get that out of the way. The bandit, or the dwarf bandit, has an axe. And his blunder on a 1 or a 2, his axe breaks. So I'm going to leave this aside. His axe broke, so he is now weaponless. So that means he's going to just do a barehanded attack, which will only use his strength, and he gets a -1, so that 4 becomes a 3 to his attack. So we're in great shape there. All right, but we get to do some damage, and oh, I'm sorry, we were stunned. So at the beginning of your turn, you get to remove stun. Now to remove stun, it's actually right in the beginning of the rule book. One of the first things you do in your turn is you get to remove stun. You roll 2d6, adding the value, I'm sorry, that's attribute tests. You roll a 1d6. On a result of 4 or more, you're no longer stunned. That's all it is. If you're adjacent to enemies, you have to do an agility test if you were knocked down. So I don't remove the stun. So that means, though, that I had a -1 to, this, but that's okay. I got a +4 instead of a +5. But we do 5 dice instead of 4 dice of damage. Oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and he has 5 health. And then I just have to hit with this last one. I rolled a 3, which is not able to do it. He's got an armor of 4. So, but we did do 4 hits on him, and he's 1 health away from being dead, and he's unarmed. So he's not really a threat anymore. Okay, we're going to do this guy. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 means he's now engaged with him, and he's bigger. So a lot of bad things are happening here. So the water elemental is large, fearsome, which means that the bandit boss has to do a courage check. I don't know what sweep is. Invulnerable means it's going to be really hard to hit him. And onslaught and undead. So we got to look up a few things. Now what I did was I got all those skill cards out already. They're just underneath the card. So large here gets a -1 to those. Always a minus. Smaller enemies hit get a -1 to their armor, which is him. He's going to get a -1 to his armor, and can break his shield used by smaller targets even when disarmed. So if using a weapon with the ability to break shields, those are automatically broken, except in the case of magic shields, which require the use of a breaking rule. The cost and weight acquiring and using weapons and armor for them as well is double the usual. Well, the weapon that this guy uses the weapon that he uses is it's his claws. So I don't know if claws actually let's see, we have those for the see, this doesn't say it breaks shields. So that sort of stinks. Okay. Onslaught may use an action to carry out the attack as long as it is not adjacent to an enemy at the beginning of its activation. If it moves and contacts an enemy in its front, it will roll agility against such an enemy. In case of multiple enemies, choose the one with the lowest. If the attacker wins, the target will be knocked down and take as many damage dice as the attacker's strength. Increase the target's armor by 1. The skill cannot be used if the attacker moves through difficult terrain at any time. So we can do an agility check against the enemy. So the enemy just rolled a critical fail. And we definitely pass the agility check. So this dude is knocked down. And so we get to do a water elemental rolls 6 dice. And it says his armor is +1, which means we have to roll a perfect 6 to hit. So there's 1 hit, and then here's 2 more. We actually got 2 hits out of that deal. So he's down to 14 health. But remember, that's not his attack. That was just the onslaught. So that's pretty cool. We got that one covered. Then we have fearsome. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll do his little check. His check was a 3. He adds his courage, which is a 5. But that poor roll means he failed his courage check. So from enemies of the same or smaller size. So a test will be required before attacking an enemy with this skill. Before being attacked. Success. Can act normally and become immune to effects of fear from enemies of that level or lower until the end of combat. Failure. Gets the condition frightened. Activation ends if the fearsome enemy is large or huge, or if the courage test was failed with a blunder. Heroes and their companions will be equivalent to leaders with respect to this rule. Okay, so he failed his courage check, and he has the condition frightened. So we gotta now look that up, and we will do that soon. Then he has sweep. You can attack up to 2 adjacent smaller enemies located in its front. Both attacker and targets will roll 2d6 plus the agility. If the attacker wins, it will deal as much damage as its strength, but will not reduce the opponent's armor. The target will also be knocked down and pushed back 1 square. This cannot be combined with a move. Okay, so can't do that yet because we had to do a move. But the sweep is really good. You can take down 2 targets that are up against him. This thing is pretty badass, I have to say. So we got to look at the condition. I wish I had a condition card that just told me what the conditions do. But it's in the middle of the rule book, and it's not even in the front or the end. It's in the middle. And that is a very annoying thing. And then, of course, the conditions aren't even in the index. That's making it even worse. All right, here we go. Condition, frightened. It's the same as stunned, but the character will be able to run. All courage tests against fearsome enemies will be automatically failed. Unless otherwise indicated, it will last until the beginning of the next character's activation. All right, so he has a -1 to all of his attributes. And when we attack him, we get to, because he's knocked down, he has a -1 to his armor. So we're going to go ahead and attack him while he's on the ground. So he rolled a 9, we rolled a 9. He normally adds 5, but because of fearsome, that becomes a 4. And then the water elemental adds 4. And then the water elemental has 3 agility. He has 3 agility, but he gets a -1 because he's feared. That's his equivalent of being stunned. And so he fails. Water elemental is going to do damage. And we get to do 6 damage dice. This time his armor is -1. So that means we hit on a 4 or better. There's 2. 3. So we just did 3 hits on him. And so he's down to 11 health. And he's knocked down, which is also helpful. So very, very, very good. It's like Commander Lassard, very, very, very good. Okay, the magic user, I'm in a bit of a pickle. I don't have any real attacking spells. I have Treacherous Waters, which is another permanent spell, and that would cancel the water elemental if I cast it. I have Ice Wall, which is okay, but it doesn't really do any damage. It just blocks people from shooting. So that's my issue. The magic user can't really attack anybody. So I'm thinking I want to take out that archer, but I'm way too far away. So what I will do is 1, 2, and then just stop. So I'm going to at least get closer, but not do anything else with it. All right, that wraps up our turn. I don't think there's anybody else that can go. Oh, no, the paladin. The paladin can go. So he's engaged, so the paladin can break 3. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess the paladin probably should take advantage of the fact that he's knocked down and stunned. I did want to kill him, but I am going to come around. We're going to come back. Let's see. I said it was 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to get behind him. Yeah, we're going to really screw him up. We're going to get behind him. So that will ignore his shield. All right. So he can't engage us while he's laying on the ground. So that's why I was able to walk around him like that. So here we go. He rolled really well, and I did not. I completely missed that. Good thing it wasn't a blunder. Okay, now that's the end of the round. Okay, Archer goes first. Going to shoot the easiest target, which will either be the dwarf here, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away, or it's going to be the lion, who's 3 spaces away. And with that being said, he would have done a defensive shot on the lion, and that defensive shot was a 6 plus 4. That is a 10, but he gets a -2, so he would have missed the defensive shot. And please bear in mind that would have been during the lion's turn last round. It's not what's happening now. The lion gives him a -1 because he has better agility, but the dwarf gives him a -1 because he's 4 spaces away. The paladin does not give a minus anything. And in fact, arguably speaking, he's shooting the paladin in the back, so he gets a +1. So he's going to shoot at the paladin, and he rolled poor. It gets to add 4 and then a +1 because the paladin's being shot from behind. He missed. That was just a good roll for us. And then we have this guy who's unarmed. Well, actually, the leader goes next. He has to roll to see if he recovers from stun. It would be a 1D. He does not. He's technically not stunned. He's feared. But I believe we said that the fear lasts until the end of the combat, doesn't it? Gets the condition frightened. Activation ends if the fearsome enemy is large or huge. Yeah, I would say the fear has gone away, but he has to do another check. And then of course he will stand up. That is his entire move, and he has to pass an agility test to do that because he's around enemies. So we got to roll for his agility. That's an 8. His agility is 3. But because, well, I guess the fear is gone now, it passes. So he stands back up, and now, yeah, he gets to attack somebody. So he has his back either to me or he has his back to both of them. And I think what he'll do is, who does he attack? He attacks whoever's easier to hit, and that's going to be the barbarian. So, although, no, the barbarian has a 5 combat ability. He's going to attack the water element, or the water elemental. It only has a 4. Bada bing. His first attack is nothing. Here's the second attack. He will hit with the. He gets a +5. We have to do a courage check again. So let's do that. He failed his courage check. So he's considered stunned again. So that gets a +4. I still think that was a hit for him. So he gets to roll 5 dice. So the armor is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. We got 12 hit points on this water elemental, so he's done 4. Got a ways to go. And then this is the third attack. We rolled a 6. He rolled a 10. That's going to get through. That gets a 4. This gets a 4. So he's going to do more hits. Oh my gosh, those are all misses. And then one more is a hit. Oh, and he also has Elite. What does Elite do? He could re-roll 1s. There was no 1s, these were 2s. So he would have gotten to re-roll those. So, sorry, I'm possibly missing a few things, but I determined that there was 2 more hits. So the elemental has 6 damage out of 12. But this next turn is the very final turn of the elemental. And here we go. Oh, I'm sorry. Unarmed dude is going to attack the dwarf. He got a 4. We got a 4. But because he's unarmed, he doesn't hit. We get to add +5 to our combat damage. Okay, so it is our turn. I'm going to go ahead and let's activate our rogue here. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. There is another trap here. So we're going to go ahead and try that one. We were supposed to do this at the beginning of every one of their turns. So they've taken 2 turns so far. So there's 1, there's 2. So had we rolled this, then the leader would have gotten whatever the power card bonus was. And that would have changed so much, I would have never been able to retcon it. So my apologies. At the beginning of every turn, you're supposed to roll this for them. So no trap, and then we need a 10 to get that chest open. And again, I failed. So I got 2 traps that need to be broken open. That angers me. And I don't even remember how much health points they have. It's in the furniture section, I think. Or where the magic items are. Why can't I find it? Here we go, furniture can only be searched once. Treasure chests are considered furniture, but in no way obstruct movement. When they're open, you get a treasure card. Oh, come on, gotta pause. Okay, the armor is 5 and the vitality is 5 on those chests, so they're gonna be really hard to break open. Okay, the lion is gonna come up 1, 2, 3, 4, and get behind him. Because why would you go up in front of him, right? We don't get the behind attack now, but we will later. They rolled a 4, we rolled a 6. We're gonna do some damage. And the elven boss or bandit has an armor of 4 because they are wearing leather armor. So there's 2 hits. And the lion rolls 5 dice. 1 more hit. The elven bandit has only 1 health left. So I did 3 out of 4 damage to it. Okay, so we're behind this bandit boss here, and he is feared again. So that means all of his attributes are -1. We're going to be attacking him from behind, which means we ignore his shield. So he can't block our attack. Also, if we're attacking from behind, we get a +1 to our roll against him. So we rolled a 5, which was horrible. He rolled a 6. He normally adds +5, and we add +5. However, his becomes a +4 because he's feared. So 6 + 4 is 10, and this is 5 + 5 is 10, right? But we get a +1 because we're behind him, so we hit him. So our broadsword is our strength +1, so we get to roll 5 dice against him. His armor is 5. However, I think he gets a -1 armor because we're behind him. Let me check. See. And if the attacker wins the opposing roll, he can push back an equal size opponent. If there's no empty squares, the opponent takes 1 extra damage die. So we could push him, but there's places he can go. Like the water elemental is blocking him, but I could push him like diagonally that way. So it's not really. So in terms of damage, yeah, his armor's 5. So there's 2 more hits, and I said I get to roll 5 dice. So 2 more hits on him. So he was at 11, so now he's at 10. He's down to 9 health, and I got a die back because I was using one of these to track him. So we got more dice now. All right, so he's down to 9. The water elemental probably should do something. The key thing here, yeah, this guy. Water elemental could sweep both of them, but he's too far away because he's actually, in this space here. So yeah, water elemental is going to go ahead and attack him. I believe he's still feared because it's until his next turn. So we don't have to worry about that. So there is no, he's not running, so he doesn't get to do the onslaught. It's just a straight up attack. So let's do it. Oh, I rolled 3 of their dice, so I'm going to have to re-roll for them. And a 7 versus a 4 is not good for us because even with his -1, he adds 4 to it to 11. And we add 4 to ours, and we get 8. So, unfortunately, we don't get it done. That upsets me. Because he's bigger, he gets a +1? Is that what happens? No. No, it's not. All right, so he blocked the attack from the water elemental. So that is unfortunate. And now water elemental is going to fizzle away after this round. We do have our barbarian, and I'm going to go ahead and attack him. I'm not really worried about him. So we rolled a 9 with our barbarian. They rolled a 5. We for sure are hitting him. He does get to use his shield, but we have the ability to break his shield. He does block everything with his shield, but I don't know what happens with the break symbol. Okay, yeah, I just had to look at his card. So for a shield, he blocked with a 5 or more. He rolled a 6, so he blocked the whole attack. However, he has to do a breaking roll if it's blocked with a weapon that had a shield break, which is what this was. We're using an axe. So the breaking roll is a 1 or a 2. So if he rolls a 1 or a 2, his shield is going to break. Let's get a 1 or a 2. Oh, I'm not even going to touch it. Watch. Ah. So his shield is broken. So he no longer gets to block anything. So that was, even though we did no damage, that was still very, very good. Okay, we still have our archer and we have our magic user, and I don't know what to do with the magic user still. Because the water elemental has done its job and no longer is needed, I could start casting whatever that next spell is going to be. Well, the next spell that could be is Treacherous Waters. But I think I'm going to leave the water elemental there just to take a pounding, because this guy will attack the water elemental because he's going to be the easiest to hit. And he is the easiest to hit. So now we just got our archer here, and we're going to go ahead and come into the room with our archer. So I'm going to go do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stop there. No. I'm going to go 5 and then 6. So we're going to get a -2. I forgot once again, he got to do a defensive roll, which that's a miss. And then we're going to go ahead and do an attack roll. We get a -2 because we move our full movement points, but we get a +2 because of our dexterity spell. So they cancel each other out, and then that's an easy hit because we had +5 to this. So we hit this guy. So we're going to roll 4 dice. That should finish it off. There we go, 1, 2, 3. We only need one more hit on the Elf Bandit. Elf Bandit is done. And we score another point. So we're up to 19. He's at 16. So we're winning right now in terms of points. Okay. What I wanted to do was get behind him so I could shoot him from behind, but that didn't quite work out. All right, we end our turn. We're going to go ahead and start with the bandit leader. 11 to 8. I gotta also, first of all, we blocked his first attack, but we gotta see if he's in fear. He rolled a 6. Okay, this time he's not in fear. So second one, he hits. We're gonna do 5 dice roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. He's down to 1 hit point left. And that's fine. We'll take the final attack. And it doesn't matter if he kills him or not. We don't even need to roll. All we needed him to do was absorb all those hits, right? And that's what he did. Then we got Mr. Unarmed here going up against our barbarian. And we block him. All right. So he's still facing this way. The paladin is still behind him. So we're going to get a paladin attack here. We got a 5 to his 5. He is not stunned anymore. So he's adding 5 to his roll, which is 10. We add 5 to our roll, which is 10. He no longer has a shield. We do, so we win. Because it's whoever has the shield wins. Then you go to the agility check. They were tied for agility too, which means he would have won. But because his shield got broken, we made it through. So we get to roll 4 + 1, 5 dice. He does have 5 armor. And there are 2 6s here, so 2 more hits. And he is down to 7 health. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do... I should probably have done my treacherous water spells. Target and all enemies, except for those of huge size in the spell's AoE, must pass an agility test or else be stunned. Yeah, so let's do that. I'm going to roll... Well, I can actually move. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, I'm going to cast into here and try to hit these 2 guys. That's an easy pass. And it's going to be stunned for 6 turns if this succeeds. So we're going to start with the dwarf. He passes his dexterity check. Or I'm sorry, agility check. And then the other one, 5, he fails. So the bandit is stunned for 6 rounds. My archer, by the way, is down to his final turn with his dexterity enhancement. Okay, so we have chest number 1 here. We need to hit it. It has an armor of 5 and a I think a health of 5. So what does that mean? If it has an armor of 5 or a health of 5, does that mean you automatically hit it? So if one of the elements is hit, let's see. No opposed roll is required to hit these elements as they will be hit automatically. Then damage dice are rolled in the usual way. They can use an action to hit a door, a chest, or something else. So basically a chest just has 5 health and 5 armor. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just start rolling damage dice against the chest, which in this case, the short sword does have a -1 to armor, but we only roll 2, and the armor is 5. So there is a hit. So the chest is down to 4 health. And that's this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 health on this one. And then there's 5 on the other one, which you can't see, but it's located here. So I'm just going to put 5 health right where he's located. So I attack this one right here. I'm going to go up with the lion, and we're going to attack with the lion. So I'm going to help the hobbit attack this. So we're going to use our claws, and we get to roll 5 dice. And I need a 5 or better. So there's 1 hit. That's all I did. So I sort of expected this. And yeah, so now our bow here, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3. So I'm behind him. And I'm going to do an archery shot behind him. Now, that would ignore shields, which he doesn't have anymore anyways, but if I shoot somebody who's behind me, well, first of all, I'm going to get a -1 because I moved. Then I'm going to get a +1 because I'm attacking him from behind. So those sort of cancel each other out. So let's go ahead and roll. That 9 + 5 is 14. That's a hit, so I'm going to roll 4 dice. He has an armor of 5. Oh, look at that. I did 3 hits. That's really good. 1, 2, 3, right there. So he's down to 4 health. And then I have the dwarf, who I guess I'm going to go ahead and attack. I should attack the bandit boss or the bandit dwarf. Well, I want to get those chests open before this mission ends. So if we kill the boss, that prevents him from damaging us. However, there's going to be he'll do a check to see if he runs away. And it's a courage check. His courage is 4, so it's possible he could pass his courage check and then stay in the battle. And then we just let him keep whiffing against us while we go try to take out the chests. The fact that he's down to 4 health doesn't mean that he's going to die soon. I mean, I could hit him and do nothing. All right, we're going to go ahead and attack the bandit because his 3 attacks are still very deadly. And there's a 7 and there's a 7. We add 5, but so does he. Ah, no, he's stunned. So he only adds 4. So we hit him. So the dwarf rolls 6 dice and does -1 to... Oh gosh, I got to see if the dwarf is stunned still. So that would have been a no, but the previous turn before that, no. Jesus, the dwarf is still stunned. At the beginning of every turn, you're supposed to check that. And then I forgot to check again on the beginning of their turn if they got a power thing. So, and just so you know, the power card is like the thickest card in the deck, but we would have drawn something like diseased. He would have spent 2 more points. And then 1 creature of the dark player's choice gets the skill Plague Bearer until the end of combat. And that would have been the leader. It always goes to the leader. I'm just drawing a card by random to show you like what would have happened if we would have drawn a power. So we're getting actually lucky in that regard. Okay, so we get to roll 6 dice. And remember, his armor is only 4 now. And those are all misses. That's 5 dice. So 1 hit. So he's down to 3. Okay, it's their turn. Not forgetting this time. I'm going to go ahead and do the leader. Leader will attack the barbarian because he's the easiest to hit. He could actually go try to hit the mage because the barbarian's engaged and so he's free to move. Oh my gosh, he would. He's going to move up to attack the mage. Well, first of all, he's going to try to remove his stunned. Oh no, he's got a spell stun, so that's not going to work. Yeah, he is. My goodness, this is going to be painful. So he's moving up like that. Yeah, we failed. So now he's rolling 5 dice against 3 armor. And the mage has a whole 3 hit points. We got to spend 2 more TP. Well, 1 TP. Oh, and that worked. So just 1. We block the attack. He scores a point. He's up to 17. We're at 19. Then here's attack number 2. I rolled too many dice for him. Ooh, 4 plus 5 is 9. This is a 7 plus 2 is 9. The agility is... Let's see, I had a 4. Looks like I changed it. The agility is 4. So we blocked that one. And then this one I don't think we blocked. Nope. So now he rolls 5 dice. 1 hit, but he's elite, so he gets to re-roll this one. 1 hit. We can take 1 hit. We even already have 1 damage, so now we're down to 2. He's down to 1 health left, but that's okay. We actually survived that, and then of course the unarmed dude doesn't even come close. Moving on to the next round. Okay, so this behind him is anywhere back here. This is not behind him. So I have to just walk forward and hit him. So no behind bonus. And I just possibly am going to break my weapon. This is not good. I rolled a 4, which is good. My weapon break only happens on a 1. So we got lucky there. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. I have things like strength potion, which give me +2 to for the next 3, and that of course hits. But I missed so badly on this. Okay, so now we got here, and I'm going to go ahead and shoot the dwarf, because I do get to shoot him from behind. That's a 5. I get +1 for being behind, and I get +5 for my skill. So I do. So we're gonna roll 4 dice, and there's he only had 2 health left. I'm sorry, he had 3. He has 4 armor. Gosh darn it, I only hit him twice. No, I'm sorry. He had damage on him. He's dead. So I thought he only had 2 damage. He has